there was a time there 2 weeks ago where we kind of were feeling okay about the Saints. You'd won a game on the road, and then you go into the bye, and then all of a sudden you look up, and it had been 3 weeks since you had lost a game. And you're like, well, all right, let's see. And then you go out there, and you just don't play very well. And then you lose another game in Miami last week after losing to the Falcons. And it's just like, okay, all that sour taste is back. So now you go on the road to play the team that's in first place in your division. The Buccaneers are the class of the division. I know the Panthers have played very well. They've very much impressed me and have done far better than anyone would have imagined they've done. But still, Tampa is in first place by half a game and has the easiest remaining schedule in the division. So they're the favorites here, and for good reason. They've been the class of the division for a couple of years. So now the Saints go to Tampa and to see what they can do. And before we get into this week's game, I thought it was relevant to go back and look at the last time these two teams played in New Orleans. And that was a poor exercise to go through because it was an awful football game for the Saints. It was fine for Tampa. It was awful for the Saints. This is the game where Spencer Rattler lost his job. And Rattler comes out there in the first half. The Saints can only produce a field goal. He goes 15 of 21 with just a truckload of checkdowns. He throws an interception, sacked 3 times, QBR of 11.9. And finally, Kellen Moore goes, we got to make a change. So they go to Tyler Shough, and he gets the ball down the field a little bit more, but they still literally don't score a single point in the second half. His QBR was 6.4. He was sacked twice, threw a pick in the game. And the Saints did absolutely zero on the ground, 15 carries for 48 yards. That's about 3 yards per pop. Kamara, 6 carries, 21 yards. Then Taysom, 2 carries for 6 yards. Then your quarterbacks carried it a little bit. But your long run in that game was 7 yards from Spencer Rattler. It was a terrible offensive showing by the Saints at home against a tough defense with a good front. And your offensive line just hasn't played well enough to deal with these guys. And they certainly didn't in that game. So now you look forward to this game coming up on Sunday. And, Jordan, you've got the injury report as it's updated. So give me the names on that list and what we know.
All right, so from Mike Triplett, he said Alvin Kamara, Fuaga, Justin Reed, they're going to be out.
Okay.
Chris Olave was back at practice today for the second straight day. And Jonas Sanker was back after missing 1 day with a head injury. Okay.
And then Tyler Shough will get this entire game. Obviously, that's a difference in this game. So you look at Kamara being out. That means you go back to what you were working with last week, which is theoretically a stronger dose of Devin Neal. And then you're going to go to Evan Hull and probably Taysom Hill. And last week, the Saints gave the ball to Devin Neal 14 times for 47 yards. That's 3.5 yards a pop. They gave the ball to Evan Hull 5 times for 15 yards. You can do that math. It's 3 yards a pop. And the Saints' long run in this game was 8 yards. We talked to Luke Johnson yesterday, and he said, he didn't mince words, like the Saints' running game is broken. And I talked all offseason about how there's a part of this that is acquiring for the future, and there's a part of this that's creating an ecosystem conducive to developing a quarterback. Whether that's Spencer Rattler, whether that's Tyler Shough, whatever, you're trying to do that. And when you cannot run the ball at all, you're not doing that. And the Saints cannot run the ball at all. And what is the carryover from that? Well, I look up at the box score against Miami last week, and Tyler Shough gets sacked 4 times. Because they don't have to care at all about you running the ball. Well, they're just going to pin their ears back and come. And they did. And they sacked your quarterback 4 times. And he was rushed and he was hurried. And Shough, to his credit, does make some plays off schedule. That touchdown pass in the back of the end zone to Devon Vele was highlight reel worthy. It was awesome. But it's not something you can build your offense around. That's a talented player making a play, and I love to see that. But I need something a little bit more replicable, and the Saints haven't been able to create that. So for me going into this game with Tampa and understanding what they've got up front, which is a load, it's hard for me to sit here and go, all right, well, first establish the run game. It's a waste of breath. It's a waste of oxygen to go, well, they can't establish a run game. They haven't gotten the run game going really all year. They did it a little bit against the Giants. That's kind of it. So it falls on if the Saints are going to keep this game close. It doesn't fall on the running game. It doesn't fall on Shough throwing for 335, which, look, Tampa's been giving up some plays through the air. They have allowed some damage to be done against their secondary. I mean, you don't have to go back a long way. You can go back last week against the Cardinals, and Jacoby Brissett, he threw for 301 last week. I wouldn't suggest he's an all-pro. The week before that, Matt Stafford was incredible. He was 25 of 35 for 3 touchdowns, 273 yards. Like, I don't expect Shough to play at a Matt Stafford level. He might be the MVP of the league. But this is a susceptible defense. It's through the air. Shough's going to have to throw it a little bit, but ultimately the defense is going to have to play great. That's what you're going to have to do. And look, this Tampa team was held to 20 last week by the Cardinals, held to 7 by the Rams, held to 23 by New England, held to 23 by New Orleans, held to 9 by Detroit. Like, there's a sample size that suggests that the Bucs aren't as explosive as they should be. Now, Mike Evans being out has been a big piece of that. Becker has not had his weapons. He's having to rely a lot on Ibuka. The defense is going to have to keep the Saints in this game. That's the only chance. You're not going to run the ball a lot, and I don't count on Shough to throw for 325. He could. I'm not counting on it. The defense is your hope here. And we've seen at times the Saints defense show up and keep the Saints around. The Dolphins scored 21. The Falcons scored 24. The Panthers scored 7. The Bucs scored 23. The Bears scored 26. Patriots scored 19. Giants scored 14. Like, you've been decent on defense. That's your hope. And I think that is why this line is less than I thought it would be. It's 8.5. I thought it might be closer to 10 because I just don't count on the Saints to score any. But ultimately, as I look at this game, my assumption is that the Bucs will cover because I don't trust the Saints offense to do much of anything. I will take Tampa to win this game 27-13. I don't think that's a disastrous effort, but more importantly than the scoreboard, what does Shough do against a susceptible defense? The offensive line is going to have to help. But if Jacoby Brissett can go out there and throw for 301, then Shough should be able to do something. Vele broke out a little bit last week. Olave returned to practice, should be back. I need to see something through the air in this game. That's more important to me than the scoreboard. Show me something through the air. That's what I need from the Saints. I think they lose the game 27-13, but I'd like to see something through the air. We'll see. Saints and Bucs from Tampa, 12 o'clock on CBS, coming up on Sunday.
Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.